slides necessarily. I care about creating slides that are effective, right? So the structure falls away, and all that you're left with is the content. So you can really focus on and engage with the content. So that's my takeaway there. And not to brag, but at conferences, after I use this model, people come up to me and say, wow, that was a really great presentation. What did you do differently? So they can't actually identify what it was about that was useful. I will say, too, that the process of creating a complete sentence heading makes you be more deliberate about your bottom line throughout and within your presentation. So I'll say that as well. So before we actually practice creating this bottom line, what questions do you guys have? Yes?
Do you recommend reading your title slide like word by word when you're doing a presentation? Because otherwise, if you're saying one thing, the title slide is something like that, you process two different sentences.
Right. Usually what I do is when I transition to a slide, I'll wait a couple beats for people to read it. Because really it only takes like 2 seconds for people to read that. So I'll say like, okay, da-da-da-da-da-da, and then paraphrase it a little bit, so say it a little differently.
So you would like kind of be silent?
I mean, I did it this whole presentation. Did you notice? It also gives you a chance to, chill your brain for a second instead of talking the entire time. So yeah, that's what I do. Yeah?
So it's really clear that this sort of presentation style will be useful for the audience.
Yes.
Do you think that the process of preparation of this kind of presentation also helps the presenter get a lot more command over what?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. That's actually the most common objection people have, and why they don't do this is because they don't have time, right? I don't have time to go through thinking about this or have that command over it. So that would be the biggest. And sometimes if I don't have enough time, I'll do the assertion evidence model for a couple slides, like 2 or 3 main slides, but the rest of them, if I really don't have time, I'll just leave them as the bulleted list, or I'll just talk through the stuff without anything up there. You don't need to have a PowerPoint presentation. But yeah, that's definitely what happens. What else? Yeah?
Could you talk about animations? Because what if, I've noticed that if you do bulleted lists with animation, then you're going from the point can be very effective.
Yeah. So this is actually something that I am hoping to research next semester, as well as finding more about effective visuals and what comprises an effective visual. Builds are a little contentious. Some people really like builds. So builds is when you build on elements of the slide. And I like them too within reason. So I saw your presentation before, I like some of the builds you had where you had the main picture and then you had additional things come in to guide my understanding of that picture. But sometimes when people are going through the bulleted list and building one after the other, I find myself getting a little antsy. Like I just want to see the whole thing, So that's just me personally, but I am interested in whether building that bulleted list, if that affects comprehension, how that affects comprehension, and how that compares to the assertion evidence model. So yeah, an answer to that, I don't know. I'm not sure. It's an interesting question. Yeah. Yeah?
I guess this question might be a little bit out of the range. You were talking about the presentation for scientific research right, in conferences. But what if if you're teaching and you want to deliver a lot of information and a lot of details?
Yeah.
Can you still apply this method?
Yeah, I use it in all my classes because I actually think it makes students work a little harder in the actual class. Whereas if I have everything on here, on the slides, and make it available through Blackboard after, what's their incentive to even pay attention during class, So I think it makes them work a little harder. I verbally deliver the stuff that I want to say, and they're taking notes. But, I mean, I think you raise an interesting question because this, again, is an area of debate. So there's some people in the field, Edward Tufte. Edward is the first name? Tufte is one of them. And he's a visual designer, and he is adamant that PowerPoint should only be used as a PowerPoint presentation with a speaker. There has to be a speaker and a PowerPoint presentation. It shouldn't be a standalone document. That's tricky because in this day and age, PowerPoint presentations are sometimes used as a standalone document. So I think we each need to find our own line with that, right? What I do is have a presentation and an accompanying handout. What other people do is print their slides or display their slides with the notes sections, and the notes have all of their talking points. Other things you can do is incorporate more of those annotations that we talked about. So more of the details on the slide, just making sure that it's clear that they're deprioritized. Yeah, so I still use them for teaching, unless of course I run out of time, in which I'll just use the bulleted list, yeah. Anything else? Yeah.
And if you put very long sentences in titles of slides,
Yeah.
For how long can you? It's better for you control the length of the.
I think so, yeah. You're like trying to get around it by creating a really long sentence. I would say try 30-point font. If your sentence heading is over 2 lines, well over 2 lines of text, then you maybe want to think about trying to distill your bottom line even more. So that's my rule of thumb. If it's a 30-point font and you're going beyond 2 lines of text, then I'm like, this is getting a little long. But again, there's no rule there, you know. Some of mine are 3 lines, so.
And for the evidence part, can we put another sentences in the evidence or just the fragment?
Just the visual, you mean?
Yeah, just the visual and some.
Oh, I see. Can the
some
annotations
sentences
be sentences
yeah,
themselves? I mean, I don't see why not. I would keep in mind, though, how your audience is going to interact with that text. If you have a crowded text, I would leave your audience more time to look at it without you talking, right? Like sometimes in conferences, people are talking, and I'm like, wait, hold on. Can I just process what's going on in the slide for a second? So I would keep that in mind if you're having other sentences on your slide. They might need more time to look at the slide. Yeah. And I'll even say, like, if I have a quote, like in my discipline, there are more quotes, so I'll say, I'm going to let you take a look at this for a second, you know, so they can actually read it without me, like, trying to jump on them and while they're trying to read it. Someone else had a, yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking at the slides while you were talking. You were saying, like, for each slide, you were trying to convey just, like, one idea or one bottom line.
Yeah, one main bottom line.
Yeah, so, for example, for these slides, your the only sentence is a question. But
Yeah.
you're talking about the answers to these questions.
Yeah.
So what's more important? Like, do you think the answers is more important? If so, why don't you put the answers there?
Right, yeah. Most 9 out of 10 times I will put the answer to my question. But sometimes if I kind of have a long answer or want to have some suspense to the answer or want to build us up to the answer, then I will put a question. Sometimes people overdo that and it's like every slide heading is a question. I think I only have like 1 or 2 in this whole presentation, so yeah.
And for the answers, you even don't want to like put the fragments of the answers on the slide.
I mean, I don't know. I think we're, you know, meandering into the realm of where research isn't supporting this. So I don't, because I like when we feel like we've kind of collectively made the answer. But sometimes I might. Sometimes I might at the end have like the synthesis of everyone's answer. So yeah, see what feels good for you. Yeah. So let's practice with our last little time here. I want you guys to give me a newspaper headline, single sentence, for what this slide would be. So the slide starts, it's everything except for that, what would the newspaper headline be? Let's just take a sentence and kind of think of our sentence. Take a minute and think of our sentence. And so the blue line is people who use Twitter every day. The brown line is everyone else. This is the months that relationship lasted, and this is the age of people from 18 to 50. I just want to give everyone a sec to kind of internalize it. Okay, thoughts? What would your main idea be? What would your bottom line sentence heading be?
Non-Twitter users have longer relationships.
Okay, cool. exactly right.
Effect of Twitter on the relationships.
What'd you say?
Effect of Twitter on relationships. I mean, the length of duration of relationships.
Where's your verb in that sentence? I mean, I'm glad you said that though, because I think it's trickier than it first appears, right? It's easier just to say the effect of Twitter on the relationships. I want to know the answer though, the actual interpretation that you want me to see. What did you guys come up with? That table I saw you.
We were talking
The,
if they're actually different or
if there is a main fact or not.
Interesting. Okay.
It appears as though it is more different actually. So, as well we stated as Twitter doesn't have length of relationships doesn't depend on your social network.
Yeah, I think this is good. I think we're getting the hang of this. So it doesn't actually matter what your bottom line is or what your interpretation of the data is, as long as you have a bottom line. I interpret it a little bit differently because I'm a superficial graph reader. I don't know if it's statistically significant. All right, we're at 6:30, and that's the main stuff that I wanted to cover with you guys today. But any remaining questions?
How long should I spend on this? 1 minute.
How long do you have? Oh, presenting.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, again, I think that would probably depend on the length of your total presentation, you know?
Yes, for average 1 minute or 30.
I can't give an average. Like, I think it kind of depends. Some slides I'll spend like 5 minutes on, just like hanging out there. Some slides I'll go through in like 5 seconds, you know? It really depends on your function of the slide. Yeah.
Does PowerPoint allow you to save the presentation as a PDF with the speaker notes?
I believe so. You have to go to, on my Mac, I have to go to print presentation with notes and then save that as a PDF. So good, awesome. Thanks for coming, guys. Don't forget to fill out your evaluation forms and stay tuned next semester for a full-length presentation skills workshop. And if you have any other questions, definitely stick around because I love this stuff.